welcome to Front Row Racing Friday's Cup here at Silverstone. I'm Front Row Racing NW, also known by Dave as Edam Hills, joined by Front Row Racing DP.
Alright Adam, how are you doing today?
Not too bad, yourself Dave?
I'm alright, thank you. I'm looking forward to what the drivers may be able to show us here. It looks like we've got some dry weather. Expect to dry for the duration, so they haven't got to worry about any rain. So yeah, I'm interested to see what the drivers can do. We've got 5 or 6 drivers here to show what they can do. The rest are league drivers who essentially are here to show how it's done.
Alright, I'm just going to give a rundown on the drivers taking part. We have Devil's Armpit, Killer Jack, Moorine MUFC, Stringy B, Stocky, JJ8816, Hindle, I Fishers, Richie Davey, Over the Kink, GT5 King 786, myself, who will be just monitoring the track, Twist Royalty, Dave the Harp, Front Row Racing DP also commentating and watching the action, and Front Row Racing RI, who will be...
We don't know yet if he's driving or here as a pit lane commentator.
I'm here, guys.
He's here with us, so I guess he's got himself a chair in the pit lane. So he's obviously got a few tinnies ready, with it being a Friday night. And looking forward to seeing what the guys are going to put on for us this evening then, Ray?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Good.
Good. You got any tinnies, Adam?
Nah, mate.
No. I've got 2, but one's Sprite, the other one's Fanta.
Oh, there you go, living the hard life.
Oh yeah, proper rock and roll in the DP flat. Anyway, obviously we'd usually discuss what the FRR-idays is about, and I reckon I'll let you mention that in a moment, Adam. But I just want to say that for this evening, obviously you're doing the main broadcast, the main commentary, and I'm just going to try and have a look at what some of the newer drivers. I'm just going to try and focus on them, and I can obviously look at highlights, on a delayed highlights on the YouTube stream as we're using that. So I'm going to hand over to you and let you go on with whatever you see on the circuit.
At the moment I'm on board Killer Jack in the Mercedes, and he's on his outlap on the options. He's coming into the last few corners to start his hot lap.
Killer Jack is he's one of the newer drivers to the league who's trying to sort of show what he's capable of doing. So it will be interesting to see how he gets on his hot lap.
I've not seen him before. I don't know about you, DP.
I've seen him on one FRR-idays event, but I think it was one where there was a lot of action going on. I think also he may have had connection issues that day, so I'm not sure how well his event went. We'll just have to see how he gets on at Silverstone.
Well, it looks like he was on a hot lap, but he seems to be weaving a bit. Maybe he's just trying to get himself up for another lap.
He could be, because getting tyres to temperature around here is a little bit tricky, but also the tyre wear around here is quite high. Now, I'm riding on board with Twist Royalty at the moment, who's had a bit of a difficult event last week. Sector times aren't phenomenal, but he's keeping it on the track nicely, and that's one of the things that we do say in the FRR-idays events. Oh, just as soon as I say that, he's got off wide. But yeah, there's one of the things we say about the FRR-idays. It doesn't matter if you're not quick. It's about being clean and doing the right things. Oh, and he's not done the right thing on the final corner there.
There you go, commentator's cursed twice.
Twice in one lap, so I'm going to have to be careful what I say for the rest of this session.
Exactly, and we've got Killer Jack coming round the last corner with a lap time of 1:36.232, putting him third. And on board, sorry,
go on.
On board with the other Mercedes with Twist Royalty, looks like he's going on for a second lap on the options.
It does. I was about to say that it looks like Twist Royalty and Killer Jack have got very similar sector times. I'm now having a look at Stringy B, another driver who's sort of in to show what he can do, one of the newer guys. Similar sector times to Twist and Killer, with a lap time of 1:35, but he's on the prime tyres at the moment, so I'm just going to sit back and keep an eye on him and how he does, and let you view whatever you wish to view.
Looks like we've only got Twist Royalty, Killer and JJ8816 sets a time of 1:35.397 on the primes. Do you think that's a good time for the prime tyres?
It could well be. To be honest, I wasn't really listening there, so I'll have a look at what he's done. 1:35.3 on the prime tyres. That's not too bad. If he puts the options on, that puts him 1:34. So we probably want a bit more lap time out of those. I mean, like I said, I was watching Stringy B. He's struggling a bit on these prime tyres. I don't think they've got a lot of grip at the moment. So it may be that JJ is in a similar situation. But on his prime tyres, he's got a better middle sector time than Killer and Twist, who are on the option tyres. So JJ could have a little bit of speed here, especially through that middle sector. Stringy, though, struggling a little bit through Maggots and Beckett's. He's ran wide on the final part of it, but manages to still get onto the hanger straight.
On board with Hindle in the Williams on the option tyres. Sector 1 time 28.3, Sector 2 38.4, and he's just approaching the last couple of corners, coming up to Vale.
It did look like he took perhaps a little bit too much curb around Stowe there. Obviously you do want to take a nice tight line around that corner, it gives a better exit, but you don't want to take it too tight. But it puts him into first with a 1:31.9. Now obviously Hindle's one of those drivers who he hasn't been involved in the FRR-idays events over the last few weeks. He's been given the opportunity of a couple of reserve drives, and he's kind of shown in a way to some of the World Series drivers that he's potentially got quite a bit of speed. However, given the race director process that Front Row Racing uses now, where basically they list everything that is seen on a broadcast view from the league races, Hindle's name has appeared a few times on that list, which does make some of the other league drivers perhaps think, is that why he's as quick? And obviously, as a league, we don't ever want to go, he's doing stuff wrong, he's a cheat. We'd never want to say that about somebody. And we always have ways that drivers can avoid a penalty. So, for example, if you take too much corner here on the old turn 1, you can do stuff that would avoid you getting a penalty, and that's where recording your own footage for league events comes in very, very useful. So for Hindle, I think perhaps he still needs to work on making sure he keeps the car on the road in a very clean fashion, because as soon as you get involved in the actual league events, you're really under the spotlight. But he's now just backed off and let another car through, so I'm going to go and ride on board with somebody else.
I'll be back in 1 minute, just a technical problem.
No problem. Okay, so as Nightwalker is away from his microphone for the moment, I tell you, I'll have a look at the timing screen, because I can't tell what Adam's looking at, not until we get a bit of a delay. But at the moment we've got Overdykink. I'm going to keep calling him that, even though his name's really actually Overdishkink or something like that. With a 1:31.5, I would, and I'm sure he would expect to prefer to be in the 30s. We then got Hindle at 1:31.9, Stocky also on a 1:31.9, then we've got GT5 King on a 1:32.2, Dave the Harp on a 1:32.2. So the top 5 are current league drivers. Then we've got Michael Mulrine on a 1:33.0, was in as a reserve on the World Series last night. I think got Richie Davey in 7th place, but as you may have seen, he's already retired from the session, so he's not going to be starting up any higher than that. Stringy B. His car's still going round. I'll have to go and find him in a moment then. Alright, okay, I'll have to have a look at that one. Stringy B currently in 8th place on a 1:34.3. JJ in 9th for 1:35.3. Killer Jack in 10th on a 1:35.7. Twist Royalty in 11th with a 36.2. Devil's Armpit, who's currently on a hot lap and just gone through Sector 2. And then we've got iFishers and then our commentary team. So let's go. Actually, Devil's Armpit, I said you may not be able to see it. Actually, you may be able to. It does look like riding on board with him. Yeah, Devil's Armpit about to come into the final two corners. This right-hander here, a corner with no name. Why they haven't named that corner, I don't know, but this one here is Club, which heads on to the start-finish. And it's 9th place then for Devil's Armpit. And Richie Davey was the other one that Ray said he is actually circulating the track. And you're right, on my view, his car is going round, but there is no car there. So I'm not sure whether Richie is actually in. But one thing's interesting is, let's say, for example, he has retired, but the AI has decided to keep driving his car round. I wonder if he's going to start the race on tyres that have done about 15 laps in qualifying.
He's got the best lap time so far, 21.9.
That is true. It does say lap time over 21.920. So Richie Davey may want to say that he should be getting pole position, but in all fairness, doing a 21.9 around here would probably mean you've used a helicopter at some point. Okay, just for your information, Adam, we've got Killer Jack just leaving the pit lane on a new set of option tyres. Twist Royalty, I think his car is in the garage. I think his session may be over. Hindle is on an out lap and is just heading up to Stowe now, so he'll be starting a flying lap in 3 corners time. Stocky is also on an out lap. Richie Davies going round on his own, and Stringy just leaving the pits.
We have Devil's Armpit 666 on the options, just about to finish his lap. Sector 1 time 29.3, Sector 2 39.8, with a lap time of 1:35.3, keeping him 9th.
Now, I'll tell you what the fans may wish to go and view now is Hindle, perhaps on his flying lap. He's just coming up the Wellington Straight. He has had a beautiful first few corners, so it'll be interesting to see if he's up on his Sector 1 time. He is. It's a 28.1, which is a good Sector 1 time. And he's heading around Luffield now, so heading on to the faster part of the circuit. I do love the old Turn 1 that's coming up. It's all about commitment.
Let's see if he's committed. He had to do
he had to get on the brakes and do a downshift, but he's taken quite a bit of speed through it and into Maggots and Beck. It's a beautiful entry. It's a good middle part. The final part's looking good as well. Dips are weird on the grass, but that's not a problem. This could be a good Sector 2 time. It's a 38.6. That is a fairly decent Sector 2 time. Now what can he do around Stowe? Got to be confident here. Get it into the apex. And then early on the power, without running right, he has ran a little wide. And now into the final 3 corners. So easy to lock it up here. And also easy to run wide and get it out of shape. Around the final corner, it's going to be a fairly decent time. Actually, no, it's not. He's lost out in that final sector.
On board with Stocky, and he's going through Maggots and Beckett's. He's on the options, and he's set a Sector 1 time of 28.294. Going down Hanger Straight now. A Sector 2 time 38.054.
I tell you what, looking at Hindle's lap time, it's actually the Sector 2 that's cost him. Sector 3 was actually the best of the session, but it was Sector 2 that's cost him a chance of pole position.
And we have Stocky going around the last corner, a lap time of 1:31.590, putting him 2nd.
And it's only 0.034 behind Overdyking, who's currently in pole position, 10th quicker Sector 1. The gap between them in Sector 2 is hardly anything, but Stocky is the faster, and Stocky was quicker in Sector 3 as well. So Sector 2 and 3, Stocky's the quicker driver.
And we're on board with Hindle going down Hanger Straight again. Sector 1 time 32.1, Sector 2 time 39.2. A slow Sector 2 time.
This has got to be an in-lap or a warm-up lap for one last flyer.
In-lap.
No, it's an in-lap. Okay, let's go and see who else. We've got David Hart just leaving the pits now. GT5 King appears to be on an out lap, I think. He's just come around the first few corners. It could be an out lap or it could be a flying lap. Now we'll have to see if it pops up a sector time on my screen. No, it's an out lap. JJ, he is on a flying lap, just coming around the first few corners, but he's still running the prime tyres.
Do you think it's time for him now to start like pitting in and getting the options on for one good run?
If he doesn't pit and put them on now, he's not going to get it done. I mean, actually, I don't think he's got the time to get it done. I mean, he's got about 45 seconds worth of circuit to get round, maybe a bit more. Then in and out of the garage, I don't think he's got enough time to get round and put a set of options on. I think he's just sort of fighting it out with the primes to see how he gets on the start of the race, because I mean, currently in 10th, he's probably going to start on the primes, perhaps a little too aggressive on the entry into Maggotts and Beckett's. For the rest of it's not too bad until a little run wide there. He's had to be patient with the throttle, and Maggotts and Beckett's is a very tricky set of corners if your rhythm's wrong through there. If your rhythm is right, you can power through a lot of it. If it's slightly wrong for that last right-hander, you're off the throttle and hoping you're not going wide, and he's into the pits. So he may have been listening, but I don't think he's got enough time to get a set of options on. Killer Jack is just through sector 1 on a flying lap on a set of options. With a sector time of 29.2.
On board with Dave the Harp at the moment. It looks like he's going for another run on the options. Currently 4th. He's going to set a sector 1 time of 28.377.
That's good.
Going through left field now. Looks like he's understeering a bit.
I thought he was going to end up in the gravel then.
It's going to hurt his sector 2 time, probably his lap time. He probably won't improve on 4th.
It looks like he's got a nice line, perhaps a little too cautious through Cops there. He's not going to be running wide through the exit of Maggotts and Beckett's. He's got a rhythm that works for him through there. It's 39.5 sector 2, not blistering, but may be able to improve where he is at the moment. No, he's a second down on his own best sector 2 time. So I mentioned he may have been a little too cautious through Cops, and that's maybe what has cost him there. GT5 King started a flyer.
Do you see him improving from 5th at the moment?
Possibly. It'd all depend on how his lap is. I mean, if you want to ride on board with him, and if you want to commentate on as he goes round, and I'll catch up with it on the stream, I'm just going to quickly watch another driver.
Okay, on board with GT5 King 786, sector 1 time at 28.611. A little bit slower than the other sector 1 times, going around Brooklyn's left field. He's kept it nice and tidy, all a little bit wide on the exit. It's going around the old pit straight, and I'm off board. Okay, back on board with GT5 King.
I was going to say, I like the way you said he's keeping it nice and tidy. Oh, he's just got off.
Alright, through Maggotts, Beckett's and Chapel, going on to the Hangar Straight. And he's approaching Stowe, keeping it nice and tidy. Kept it nice and tidy, didn't go off there, which was pretty well handled by Rehan there. Going through Club. Onto the pit straight now. Did he improve, Dave?
I can't actually see the sector times, but I will have a look on the replay, see if it goes from a 5 to a 4 at all.
On board with Stringy B92, just about to finish his lap. Looks like he's on the option tyres. He's currently 8th at the moment.
Stringy's lap has actually been not too bad, to be honest. Whether he'll improve or not, I don't know.
He goes
but
6th.
It was a fairly clean lap.
Stringy B92 goes 8th to 6th.
That's nice to do. I mean, he did run like momentarily wide out of Cops, but I mean, we've watched a few of these guys over the last 2-3 weeks, and it is nice to see that they are all sort of working harder to keep the car on the circuit. I mean, it's not easy, but that's Formula One shouldn't be easy. It's not easy. The real guys make it look easy, but that's because they're so good at it. And keeping the car on the circuit is one of the arts of Formula One racing. And that's why, as a league in front row racing, I mean, we say, okay, you make a mistake, you do a lift off that's easy for a steward to see, they're not going to do anything about it. You go cutting corners all over the place, you just quite simply won't get the opportunity for a reserve drive. You improve and improve and improve, and the opportunities will come your way. It doesn't matter if you're not top of the leaderboard, does it, Adam?
That's it. I just want to go through the qualifying results. In first, Over the Kink, Stocky second, Hindle third, Dave the Harp fourth, GT5 King fifth, Stringy B92 sixth, Kimi Raikkonen seventh, Richie Davey eighth, Devil's Armpit 666 ninth, JJ8816 in 10th, Killer Jack 123 11th, BDS Jade Rios in 12th, iFishers 13th. Who was in the other Ferrari?
We had Richie Davey in one of the Ferraris, didn't we? So I would guess it will be him, because I'm sure it did say that he retired from the session. He may also have left the session as well.
Richie's in a Honda.
Alright. I did hear a microphone clicking on and off, so I don't know if you've got anything to add in there, Ray?
I never cracked my microphone.
Alright, it's Adams I can hear then. Now you may hear a can opening, that's the Fanta. Other soft drinks are available, but I'm trying to get some free ones. So, do you want to try and predict what may happen in the race then, Adam?
Yeah, I think Dom and Stocky are going to fight probably till 3/4 of the race, and I think Stocky's actually going to do Dom.
Well, I think Stocky may have sort of unfinished business from the World Championship race, because obviously he was in a very good position of second at one point until the latter stages of the Grand Prix, where he got swamped by Kev, and then I think Dom was around him as well, and then something happened between those two. I think there was a collision, and Stocky ended up disqualified. From kind of what I can gather, I think Stocky may have been disqualified for technically driving the wrong direction, but he wasn't. He was just trying to get back to the circuit. It's one of those unfortunate situations where, in getting the car round to face the right way, it's been deemed as driving in the wrong direction and ends up in a disqualification. So I think he's got a point to prove today and wants to go and have a good battle. But I've got a feeling we're going to see some carnage, potentially at turn 1 here. Now, I think we're just waiting for Jade to actually click ready. So, Jade, if you can hear us, please click go. There should be a time limit on it as well, but yeah, click go. But yeah, I mean, if the drivers are cautious but not too cautious through turns 1, 2 and 3, we could be on for a good fight here. Obviously we've got 4 or 5 league drivers up in the top 4 or 5, so there's a chance that they'll pull away from the rest of the pack, but you never know what will happen.
It should be a good little race. Hopefully not too much contact. The new drivers, if they can prove a point with a few of the league drivers, maybe a few good overtakes, they may get themselves noticed a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just sending Jade a message to click advance, because at the moment on my screen it's showing that we're just waiting for her to do so. Oh no, all the drivers will be sat there. They can see who they're waiting for. Now Jade may be in a screen that doesn't show that everybody else is ready to go, but they are, and so are we. What do you reckon is going to happen here, Ray? I would guess that would be not a lot.
Getting stuck into them cans, I think.
I think he might be, you know. I think he might be. So anyway, we haven't really discussed while we're waiting here. We haven't really discussed the process of the FRR-idays. Do you want to quickly go through that, Adam?
Okay, yeah. Basically, what it is, we have World Championship run every Wednesday at 7:30. The stream goes live, the race goes live, and on Thursdays World Series, same time. But for drivers that are wanting to get involved with front row racing, the thing is, message the page, you get a drive in the FRR-idays Cup, which follows the race calendar the same as the World Championship and World Series. So basically, message us, tell us you're interested, we'll sort out a seat for you, come along, give us a good race, you don't have to be quick, as long as you're clean, tidy, just you got a bit of race awareness about you. Take it from there, put in a good few performances, and you will get noticed. You could end up in World Series if you use this, World Championship if you don't. But just keep pushing on and see what every race takes you.
Definitely. And also we've got the Project Cars League starting hopefully next weekend on a Friday night from 9 PM and on a Sunday night from 8:30 PM. So if you enjoy playing Project Cars, feel free to contact Front Row Racing on Facebook about that one as well. And also we'll give a shout out to Ray here. If you do want to play Project Cars, send Front Row Racing -RI loads of friend requests, because he's usually on a Friday night anyway.
I don't have any friends, so it'd be nice.
Yeah, he's feeling a bit lonely, so yeah, send him some friend requests. I think the guys will be on this evening just for a sort of a race night. If I'm able to actually get on and live stream, I will. But we're now 7 seconds away from the start of the race, so Adam, over to you.
Okay, all the drivers are ready and raring to go. We have 1, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and the lights are all off. Just quickly retire.
Now let's hope that when we get...
Oh, there's been contact. Stringy B92. He's been involved with contact with GT5 King and a few other cars.
Quite possibly. As I was retiring, I saw there's a few cars heading off to the left. Now, you're right, Richie Davey is in a Honda, he's in a McLaren, so I don't know who was in the other Ferrari.
And there's been more contact with Killer Jack 123 and JJ8816. And there's contact
close.
again. Oh, what a crash!
More contact. Oh, they nearly ended up in the wall that Kimi Räikkönen ended up in. I'm going to have a look at that on the replay. Okay, so on board with Killer Jack, wheel to wheel with a Ferrari. That'll be of JJ. Still wheel to wheel around turn 3. That sort of sends them both off track a little bit, and then they still stay wheel to wheel. These two aren't willing to give it up round there, and then collection of wheels again, and they're both off. They've both got damage. They're both going to be going back to the pit lane.
Well, you said there was going to be carnage. We got carnage.
That we have. Out in front, Hindle is leading with Stocky right behind him. Over Dyking's in third with Richie Davey and another McLaren behind them. I think that's going to be a battle that's going to be worth keeping an eye on, Adam, because I've got a feeling that Stocky's on the charge to catch Hindle. Yeah,
on board with Stocky as he takes first place, but Hindle's right side by side going into the last corner. Hindle's just pushing Stocky out a little bit wide, but Stocky's keeping him honest.
There's contact between I Fishers and I think it was Richie Davey. I was on board with I Fishers. He took a very tight line around the final corner, perhaps to give a bit of room, but there was contact as he ran wide. They both ended up in the wall. Oh no, not how they would. It was Richie Davey. He's got no front wing and burning up the rear tyres. Oh dear.
A manic start as we've got Hindle trying to take first place away from Stocky, but Stocky's keeping him honest here. There's less than a tenth of a second between them.
I tell you what's interesting, the Ferrari of JJ looked like he had damage, but actually he's got through the initial carnage without any damage, so he is still going. At the moment, the top non-league driver is actually Hindle, who's in second place. Behind that, you got 4 league drivers, and then Stringy B, who's just ran massively wide at Cops, in 6th place. He looks like he's on a bit of a charge. Oh, he's taken rather too much curb from what I'm just seeing here. And this is one of those situations where, yeah, you want to push, but actually you want to keep it clean, because if the opportunities are there to become a reserve driver, you're only going to get it if you're keeping it on the road.
And riding on board still with Hindle, and he's still just trying to edge up closer to Stocky. Oh, he's cut the last corner a little bit too much, and he went to the back of Stocky.
No, I haven't seen that, so I'm still riding on board with Stringy at the moment, but I do know that in the race last night, I think it was, there was a situation where Hindle went for an overtake on someone in the final corner, got on the sausage curb and ended up clipping the side of Richie Davies, spinning himself. But I've just seen as well, Stringy B has moved himself up into 5th place. I didn't see the move, I just saw, I think Devil's Armpit may have gone a bit wide, I don't know, but Stringy is now up to 5th.
Back on board with Stocky, and he seems to be getting a little bit of a distance between him and Hindle. Only a couple of attempts, but still distance.
Go on, Ray, say again.
The McLarens have stacked and the pits officials benefited.
So iFishers, who would have had damage, because that's right, it was iFishers and Richie Davey who both had contact, both in McLarens, so they will have had to double stack. And Elliot, that's iFishers, now got GT5 King overtaking him into turn 3, or trying to. He is now, I was going to say ahead, but oh, that was so close to more contact, but he is now ahead.
So do you see iFishers or Richie Davey getting a recovery drive from this at the moment?
Richie Davey possibly, iFishers I don't know. I've not seen him race for a while, and on a few occasions where we have seen him race, he has had to have a bit of a word in his ear of taking a bit too much curbing or corner in a few places. And it's one of those situations where, especially with this Silverstone circuit, if you drive angry, it's very easy to find yourself off track. So, oh, just as I've seen him do through Maggots and Beckett's, oh yeah, those lines, they're not good at all. But and it's annoying in a way, because the lines he's taken means that he catches up GT5 King, who would appear to take the corners properly. And that's why in front row racing, we don't want people taking too much curb, because those who do it right end up losing out, and that's not correct. Anyway, over to whatever you may be watching.
Still on board with the Hindle and Stocky battle. It seems that Hindle does gain the odd couple attempts against Stocky in certain parts of the track, most notably Sector 2, but then Stocky seems to pull away in the end of Sector 3, beginning of Sector 1.
Okay, I'm going to quickly have a look at Killer Jack, running on prime tyres. I can't remember if he got involved in anything early on. I'm not sure if it was him or not. He's got GT5 King and iFishers catching him up slowly, but they are both on the prime tyres as well. But at least one of them has made a pit stop already. Now for Killer Jack, this is a situation where, as I was saying, if he keeps it clean, keeps it on the road, opportunities can come his way, exactly the same way as for Stringy and for Hindle. I mean, as you're viewing, Hindle's having what appears to be a cracking battle with Stocky out the front. But to keep getting the opportunities, you've got to be keeping it on the road. Oh, Killer Jack's taken too much curb through Maggots and Beckett's, but he looks like he has done a lift off and cost himself some time, and that's how to do it. If you're going to go off the track, at least do the lifts off that the front row racing stewards make me commentate on. I mean, that's one of the things for any of these drivers. If you're not sure what to do when you do end up off track, watch the stewards' guides, because it gets explained in there.
Who's in 9th and 10th at the moment?
In 9th
and GT5 King of battling.
They are battling, and GT5 King's almost drifting it. iFisher's going for another move up the inside, trying to do exactly what he did on Richie Davey. I think he's a little lucky, to be honest, that the GT5 King kind of backed out of that one, because if you're going to throw it up the inside of the final corner, you can't just run it out to the exit, because if you do, the chances are there's a car there, and that's exactly what happened on Richie Davey. Oh, and iFisher's all over the curb around turn 4. Now, obviously, in the FRR-idays, there is no steward inquiries or penalties applied after the race. This is just a place for drivers to come and show what they can do. If what they show they can do is good, they'll get chances to race. If what they show is not good, they won't get chances to race as reserves unless they improve their driving. And that's what this is all about. We've seen bits of improvement from some drivers over the last few weeks. But for someone like Elliott at the moment, iFishers, is definitely taking too much curbs. With no
Stocky's crashed in the pit.
He's crashed in the pit? Is it on the pit exit?
On the pit exit, Hindle managed to get past him.
Oh dear. I'll have a look at that on the replay. I mean, what is it? End of lap 5 for their stop, so... Okay, looking at the replay then, Stocky was in second place, Hindle right behind him. Oh yeah, straight on into the wall. That's probably a little bit of front wing damage, and if it is, that's going to hurt him for the rest of the race unless he pits again. Oh, I think that is wing damage, you know, by the looks of it.
And the one to benefit is Dave DeHart and of course Hindle.
Overdyking may also benefit. He's currently running in 4th place, so I'm guessing he has pitted as well, because he was in 3rd, so I would guess that he has pitted already. And obviously Overdyking is one of the league drivers, so I'm going to ride on board with him. And if you hear me go, oh my goodness Dom, that was terrible, then we know to tell him off, and if we don't, we say, right, just ridden on board a league driver and nothing to moan about really. And this is one of the good things about, or should be one of the good things about the FRR-idays events. If, for example, we see drivers off the track, we would like to hope that we could then go and ride on board with the league drivers and say, look, this is how they're doing it. And this is where it comes down to the league drivers to show how it potentially should be done. And it also means if we see them cutting corners, we can slate them even more. Isn't that right, guys?
Definitely, but there's also one rule as well. If you have an incident on track, make sure you get the facts before starting arguments. The best way forward.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, obviously, I've been an admin for a racing for a number of years now, and so with yourself, Adam, and Ray, you for probably about a year now. And we've all experienced it where a collision will have happened and perhaps an argument will happen, and it's like, well, hang on a moment, if you haven't seen it from 1, 2, maybe 3 different angles, you're blaming someone for an accident where, in actual fact, you're wrong. I mean, a good example of this actually is a collision that happened in the World Series race last night between Rickster and a Razor.
Oh, there's contact. iFishers, he's had contact with a Mercedes. I can't see what myself on the replay, on the stream it should come up.
Okay, I'm looking at it now as they headed up to turn 1. It's Killer Jack that's ahead of him. It's GT5 King that's just behind him. GT5 looking up the inside. No. Okay. Oh, he's kind of chucked it up the inside. Oh, he's hurt himself there. He's kind of looked but not looked, hit the back of the car and spun himself. Yeah, I was just saying about in the World Series race last night, coming out to Luffield, you've got Rickster being overtaken by Konzo. Konzo's on the outside. Rickster's doing everything right. He's trying to give the guy room as JJ is entering the pits. Yeah, he's trying to give the guy room. As those two are a little slow, a Razor behind them sees an opportunity to go past them both, tries to take it, but at that moment, it's when Rickster's doing the right thing of giving room to Konzo, contact happens, and those two end up off track. That's just a pure and simple accidental racing incident. But it would be very easy for one of those drivers to go, you hit me, you spun me, that's your fault, when in actual fact you've got a driver just simply trying to do the right thing, and you can't really penalise people for doing the right thing. Anyway, JJ exiting the pits. He's clipped the wall, but hopefully not caused any damage. Oh, but his pit lane exit, oh my goodness me. If that had been a league race, my friend, you'd be getting a penalty. That was diabolical. He basically came out of the pits, and as soon as the grass ended, well, he was on the grass. So yeah, JJ, my advice, watch the steward guides about the pit entries and exits.
Right, on board with Hindle on lap 8 leading. We have Stocky in second, who's setting fastest laps, trying to catch up, so he seems not to have any damage from his accident in the pit lane exit. And I think we have Dom in third place, also catching the leading pair up. As Stocky sets another fastest lap of a 1:33.
That's not a bad lap time now. I'm currently going to sit on board with Stringy B, who's sat in fourth place on the prime tyres. I would guess he's already made a pit stop, with there only being 4 laps left. If he was going to go to the options, I'd have thought he would have done it by now.
We have Stocky, who's literally less than 2 seconds behind Hindle, and if he's going to make a move, it's going to have to be in the next couple of laps. He's putting in fastest lap times, but he's going to have to start pushing that a little bit harder.
He definitely is. Now, I have just turned around and looked at the live stream, and I actually saw a replay of Hindle going round turn 1, and he was quite far off track there. Now, obviously, on the broadcast view, we can't tell if people lift off or not, but the amount of corner that was taken there does not look good.
So what would your advice be to a driver like Hindle, who's had these opportunities in World Series after being in Friday's Cup, and now he's racing in Friday's Cup, just a bit more practice, trying to get himself maybe another shot at a reserve drive?
In all honesty, it's a difficult one because he's quick. He has got some speed about him. But from what I've seen on, like for example, the World Series from yesterday and just a couple of bits from today, I think my honest advice would be, take a step back, dude. Chill out a bit. It's not about winning the race. I mean, okay, it is about winning the race, but there's no point winning a race if at the end of it you're going to get so many penalties for being off track that you end up either disqualified or last. So you might as well slow down, keep it on the road and finish wherever you finish. If you stay on the track and your pace seems to be 3rd, 4th, 5th, then that's your pace. Your speed will improve. But if you're first and you're off track, your competitors won't like it. And that's the advice I would give. Take a step back, just work on those racing lines, keep it on the road, because if you don't, you'll end up not enjoying your racing. Agreed
with that, that's sound advice. Well, Stocky's had a little incident there, he's gone a little bit wide just before Hanger Straight. I think he's pushing a little bit too hard to catch up to Hindle. There is less than, just over 2.5 lap, 2 and a bit laps, sorry. And Stocky seems to just be pushing it a little bit too hard at the moment. Oh, as Hindle's gone a little bit wide.
Oh, looking at the replay, a Lotus went wide in Maggots and Beckett's as well.
That would have been Stocky.
Yeah.
It looks like Stocky's got Hindle's number if he can just keep it on the track. It looks like he's gaining a little bit by a little every sector of the lap. But the thing is, he needs to realise that he's going to have to wait for Hindle because Hindle's a little bit more messy on the track.
And as they're kind of fighting, Dom's coming up at the back.
He is, he's closing up in the background. I mean, I've just had another look as well, and turn 1 for Hindle was a bit too much off track as well. I mean, I know I said to him the other day, you're going to be in the spotlight, and one of the downsides to being in the spotlight is the camera's going to be on you, and if the camera's on you and you're off track, everybody sees it, and we can't stop people having their own opinions. I mean, we would never call somebody a cheat or anything like that. We never would. It's not in our DNA to do so. But sometimes the cameras tell their own story, and for drivers that drive within guidelines, within the rules, keep it on the racetrack, it can get very frustrating. So for someone like Stocky or Overdyking who's trying to catch them up, they may find it a little bit frustrating. But at the end of the day, the FRR-idays, it's not about slapping people with penalties. It's about, we'll comment on if stuff people do isn't correct, and it's down to them to work on it to get the opportunities that they really, really want.
Oh, Stocky's going to make a move on Hindle. He's got it. Hindle's. Oh no, Hindle's coming back at Stocky. There's going to be contact. I'm sure there's going to be contact.
Is this your commentator's curse again?
That would be the opposite then. There won't be contact.
Yeah. You say there'll be contact, there won't be contact. You say that, oh, these guys know what they're doing. They won't cause any contact, no damage, and then it'll happen.
Oh, Stocky's made a clean move there.
It does look like a clean move, but Hindle's kind of fighting it back. Stocky's got to be careful going wide, and they're going to be side by side-ish heading into Cops, and Overdyking's going to be able to gain on them at this point because one of them's going to have to go a bit slower than the other.
Looks like Dom's just waiting in the wings there.
Yep, well, I don't think he's waiting in the wings. I think he's pushing to catch them up, because if these two battle, it'll slow them down, and that gives Dom the chance to overtake. I think he may even be within DRS range now.
No, he's not in DRS range.
Okay, he's just out of it. But I mean, if you're following a car, I mean, you'll be able to see if they're on track, off track, and whether you gain on them or they gain on you. So, I mean, that's where, if you're following a car that it's difficult to tell what they're doing, you kind of got to keep your cool. So for Dom here, all he needs to do is leave these two to battle to a certain point in this race to see if they mess each other up and he can just drive past and wave at them, or whether he's going to try and take opportunity in this first DRS zone on one of the cars and the other car in the second DRS zone.
Go on then, Dave, you're going to guide us through the last lap with this battle between first, second and third.
Well, I think Stocky for the moment is going to be safe. Hindle, if
oh,
he
there's
defends,
contact.
Gonna, oh,
Dom's gone into the back of Hindle.
He has. I was about to say, if Hindle defends, it could slow him and Overdyking down. I don't know if he defended, but he definitely went towards the apex as Dom's was carrying more speed. Now, Overdyking's on the option tyre. So as they head up to Cops, you can see there Hindle looking at possible defending off track again, but Overdyking may have a better run. Now Maggotts and Beckett's, this could get very, very busy for the guys. Stocky could come well under the cosh because he's not going to have DRS. Hindle though will, Overdyking will. So there's a chance that Stocky could end up going from first down to third before the end of the lap, to be honest. But no, he's covered Hindle off, and Overdyking's not close enough to attack Hindle. I think then it may stay in these places. Stocky's gone defensive, feels he has to. Could that compromise him on the exit? Overdyking trying to apply the pressure. I don't think it's going to work though. Again, Stocky goes defensive, and he's going to be able to take it across the line.
What a race.
There was a close finish there. Interesting finish. Stocky, I mean, I said it at the start. I think Stocky's going to have a point to prove. I think he's just proven it.
I agree. He looked like a man possessed on that last lap, trying to get that position, keep that position, and it proved it last corner as well.
Definitely. Now it looks like iFishers potentially going to come home in 8th place. JJ 8816 in 7th place. Killer Jack in 9th place. GT5 King, no, I was going to say he's right at the back, but he's not. He's actually going to finish in 6th, but obviously we saw that he was involved in a collision early on. He'll be pleased, though, to finish ahead of iFishers, I would gather, because they were close a little earlier on. But I mean, what I would say is obviously I've not been able to keep up on exactly what was shown on the broadcast viewers. I've been trying to view on a number of other drivers, and if I'm honest, I can't say that I could pick out any of the new drivers there that I could say, yeah, you know what, let's give them a reserve drive, because a lot of them were off track a lot. that's the stuff that they've got to work on, really. I don't mean to be negative. As the guys celebrate their podium, I'm not being negative. I'm trying to be guiding in a way. It's like, okay, yeah, keep it on the road. Keep it on the road. Your chance will come. If you don't keep it on the road, it's going to take longer. If we can see you're working on it, you're progressing on it, we'll notice it, we'll see it, and the opportunities will come.
I think basically what you're trying to get at is the simple fact is, for those new to FRR Fridays who've raced today, just watch the footage back when it goes back up, when the link's put on the Facebook page. Have a look back, take Dave's advice, go into the next event for Friday's Cup, improve your racecraft, and then you never know, you may get that pick next time.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I would prefer to see someone finish 8th having never gone off the track. As in, like, not taking too much curb, blah blah blah. I'd rather see someone finish 8th doing that than someone finishing first by 20 seconds doing all those things. So yeah. Anyway, I mean, that was a very interesting race there. I mean, the guys up at the front gave us a very interesting battle, a few collisions. Do you want to try picking some form of driver of the day there then, Adam?
I think my driver of the day is going to go to Stocky, because he did keep it on track most of the time. He had a decent drive, he had a little incident coming out of the pit exit, but he kept it well controlled, and he's showing the other drivers new to the Fridays Cup, and also the viewers watching that may be interested in racing, how you're meant to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he has done well there. I mean, there's a big gap as well between the top 3 and then 4th place. Oh my goodness me! I've just noticed something on the race results. We have had a few DNFs there. Devil's Armpit, Richie Davey, and Jade, who was unable to get going at the start. But yeah, interesting session, interesting race.
I'm still on board with Killer Jack 123 doing about 50 lap round Silverstone.
I hope he realises that doing additional laps would not, in a league race, get you penalties removed. So, well, yeah, okay, I've cut a few corners, but I did do an extra 3 laps.
I think he's showing off because he's doing it with one hand off the steering wheel, one finger pointing in the air.
Yeah, I've got a comment here from Elliot Fisher that says, that's 11 out of 10 the worst race I've had. I boxed at the end, that's why the distance was so far. Well, sometimes you have good races, sometimes you have bad races. When you have bad ones, you just have to put your hands up and say, yeah, I had a shocker. But there you go. I mean, in some ways, that's, I mean, how many times, like if you watch football, do you hear a team go, we played badly today, but you know what, we picked up the 3 points. And that sometimes is the difference between top drivers and drivers a little further down the order. Top drivers can have a bad race and still pick up very, very good points. So yeah, a bit of a football analogy there, but Man United used to do it all the time. And
they're still doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, half a chance of winning the title. Who knows? To be honest, I haven't been able to keep up with the football as much this season as I usually would, so I don't even know who's in what position in the league.
Well, I can gladly say I won't know what's happening in any football because I'm still on board with Killer Jack. well, I've headed back to the lobby. I think Killer Jack's just. I think Killer Jack's just showing off now. It looks like Mercedes are doing a private test after the race.
Could be. It could be. I mean, having said that, you know, I mean, I have been to the Silverstone Young Driver Test. For 2 years. If you can't afford to go and watch like the British Grand Prix, if they have actually got a practice, like a test sessions at Silverstone, it's worth going because the tickets aren't expensive. On the downside though, you are very limited to where you can access on the circuit. I think for the first season I went, you entered the circuit at Luffield, and the only way you could go is towards Copse. and you couldn't go beyond Cops. So you were limited to sort of that straight, which was, to be honest, really disappointing. But at the same time, you did get to see the cars at decent speeds. The second year I went, you had access from the final chicane all the way to, trying to remember which bit it was now, turn 1. And that was it. So not a lot of racetrack, but again, you did get to see them at decent levels of speed. So yeah, you won't get to go around Maggots, Beckett's, all that kind of stuff, but for the price and to see F1 cars, it's always worth having a look at if the price of the Silverstone Grand Prix is out of range. Okay, any final thoughts?
No, I'd just like to thank everyone for tuning in and all the new drivers giving Friday's Cup a shot, and just remember, message the page if you're interested, as I'm still at the track at the moment watching cars go around.
I mean, this is the thing, for anyone that's watching this thinking, I can do better than that, come on then. All you got to do is send us a message. You get a chance in the FRR-idays, and you show them that you can do better. If you show them that you can do better, you show us that you can do better. You'll get your opportunities of being a reserve driver. If you become a reserve driver, the opportunities could be there as of taking places in the main leagues as they become available. So yeah, send us a message. Right, okay, on to final bits of information. Once again, Project Cars Leagues will be starting in the very, very, very near future on Fridays from 9 PM. There's still a few spaces left in the Formula B league that will be holding on Fridays. It's going to be a 10-race season, so over 10 weeks, one race a week in the Formula Bs. And after those 10 races, the cars will be changed to a different class of car. And on Sundays at 8:30 PM, we're doing a 10-race season in the Ginetta Juniors. Races will be dictated by race length, so the number of laps will vary. But overall, qualifying in the race should take about an hour. Okay, if you're interested in joining either of those, once again, find Front Row Racing on Facebook. Send a message saying I'd like to join the Project Cars League Friday or Sunday, or both if you want, and we'll put your name down for those. And lastly, again, a few of the guys will probably be on Project Cars tonight, so if you are interested in going for a bit of a drive on Project Cars, just for a laugh, add Front Row Racing _RI on PSN, send him a friend request, give him some abuse, ask him for an invite, and just get in there, have a laugh, and see how you get on. Anyway, I've been Front Row Racing DP, and over to you, Adam, to say goodbye.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Front Row Racing RI, Front Row Racing DP for helping me tonight bring the Friday's Cup from Silverstone. Next week will be Hungary in the Friday's Cup, so make sure you message the page if you fancy a shot at it. Thanks everyone for watching, good night.